few imperfections here and there. I repainted the bumpers. Didn't know what I was doing a long time ago. I did get some runs in it, and the car's been sitting for 10 years unregistered, so there's a couple of little chips here and there that also need attention. So we'll get those fixed, and then get it all wrapped. The front bumper's got a few scrapes. Other than that, there's no dents in the whole car. It's been sitting garaged and or carported for quite a while. Right, let's get cracking. Okay, let's pour this oil. Pretty simple, there's no brake light or anything in it, so 4 bolts, and it'll slip straight off. Seal off. filler is something that you do want to get some reasonable quality, especially if you're doing deeper dents, because it will shrink back, so you'll end up with a wavy panel if you don't use pretty reasonable stuff, at least anyway. So I haven't tried this before, but I've just got this one, Cam Gold. It's got some pretty good reviews, so we'll see how it goes. So this is a 3 kilo tub. It's obviously not full, but that's because of the weight of it. It's in a 4 litre pot, or a 1 gallon pot, so it doesn't need to be completely full. So these onion boards, it's multiple pages. It's very easy to mix on, and you can just tear that piece off and throw it away, rather than trying to use a mixing board and clean it every time. I used to use a quarter window out of a car, just to have something decent to work on. But so we don't need a great deal of body filler in this instance. So wipe a little bit on. This is 100 to 3 mixing ratio. So for 100 grams you add 3 grams of hardener. So I've still got this hardener from another pot, and it turns out it's exactly the same, from the same manufacturer and everything in Italy. So that's probably a little bit much, but that's alright. And make sure it's mixed pretty well, so you can buy disposable plastic applicators. These are pretty good because they do flex pretty easily around parts of the panel. You can just use a standard paint scraper if you want. I use the paint scraper at least to mix it, and then you can apply with this. So any any dry material, if you don't have a good edge, you can sand that off. Equally, these typically bend a little bit and snap off, but anyway, I don't need to clean this up, so let's get on with it. So you want to make sure you mix everything through thoroughly. You don't have any streaks or discoloration, miscolours, so it should go to a bit of a pinky hue. The last pot of body filler I had was a U-POL product. It was a similar sort of colour, and it dried a yellowy, bronzy sort of colour. So little bits on the paper with the hardener. You're probably not going to get all that off, but this is pretty well mixed now. Alright, going to put it on the panel. Okay, getting back into the VE, Watchers VE. So this is the front bumper. It's got a fair bit of rash underneath. I did start tidying up some of the stuff when it was on the car, but there's some significant rock chips, and they show up through the wrap. So we'll get it all cleaned up, sanded back, and this is just going to get primered. The backside there, tidy a bit up here. I did push that out a bit, so it still needs a bit of sanding. But otherwise, there's a few chips like you can see here, and there's some delaminating paint top here, clear delaminating. We need to make sure we get the delaminated paint all off because it'll pull the wrap up. Little stone chips in there. Rear bumper's pretty well good to go, so I'll sand it all back, scuff it up, and eye fill it, or undercoat it. can still see a glossy on here. So those bits there we're just going to hand sand. Wasn't much point in worrying about showing you the whole bumpers. But all these different edges where it's glossy, we'll hand sand all that. So a bit hard to get the buzzer in there for a start, but then also it's you can take edges off and corners, and that's undesirable. Okay, so we're getting set up to paint. We've got the gun. When you're storing it, it's best to put some thinners inside the pot of the gun and take the tip off, and you can soak it so it doesn't build up. So reassembling the gun's pretty simple. The needle and everything's fine on this particular gun. So I'm using a 1.7mm tip. And you can see we've got a good flow, so we should be fine there. We have, this is a 2K primer, high solid primer. This is the hardening to go with it, so it's a 4:1 mixing ratio. You can buy these cups pretty inexpensively. So they have different markings on the sides, 4:1. Fill up with primer, fill up with hardener, and then if required any thinners. So this is a mixing stick, and it also has a scale on it for mixing your paint as well, so 2:1 and 4:1. Yeah, but it's pretty well used and covered. So we'll make sure that this is all mixed correctly. It does get messy, so if you haven't got a decent spot to be able to mix it up, it pays to put a bit of paper down on the table, a bit of butcher's paper or masking paper. So I've got my 4:1 scale at the back side here so I can see it. So it's just over the 6 mark. It is a very mild day today, so I'm not going to be reducing it. There's a good rule of thumb, the hotter the day, the more reducer, the thinners. So this does get a little bit difficult to mix in a small cup. So once you get a bit of a mix going, you can pour between the cup and the gun a few times to get it to mix in. lid on. And get the spraying. Okay, ready to lay some paint on. So the purpose of these videos is to show that a backyard I can do quality repairs. So everything I'm using is budget. So this is a no-name gun. I think it was about $20 or even less on eBay. Airline, pretty simple. This is a cheap one. My compressor is a decent compressor. But otherwise, everything else is readily available on eBay. Paint stands, so on and so forth. So for less than the price of a repair at an automotive shop, you can paint your whole car at home. Definitely advisable to wear a mask and even safety goggles. But, first pot down. A couple of bits of stuff have floated in it. That's pretty standard for a backyard paint job, unfortunately. This is a fast hardener. So, no runs, taking it easy, building the coats up. Okay, we've got our bumpers undercoated. So now we'll need to sand this back just to get all the imperfections out. As you can see, some light marks. That's what the primer's got to fill. So in order to know what's low and what's high, we spray a guide coat on. So this is just a cheap black paint, spray paint. It's just a matter of dusting on. Don't have to paint it thick. It can be lighter than that even. Anywhere you've got a repair, make sure that's well and truly covered. That's the long and short of it, really. No real method to it, just get it on there. Alright, I'll do the same with the rear bumper. I'll cut the video. Okay, update on the repairs. So it's been undercoated, guide coated, started rubbing it back. So you can see this is the underside, so obviously not going to get too carried away about it, but see all the black spots is actually where the guide coat is in low spots. So as a demonstration, start rubbing it back and you end up with grey spots like this, so they're high spots. Then you end up with black spots like this, they're low spots. You can see just a little mark there now. So that's the process. Basically, just you can see the guide coat gives you a guide as to how the paint is laid. If there's low spots, they'll show black. If they're high spots, they'll show grey. So it's just a matter of sanding that back. So you can see all these marks here look like scratches. They're the sanding marks from originally prior to installing the guide coat and the undercoat. So they will sand out. I'm just using an old buzz pad just to get the majority of it off. That's a 200 grade buzz pad, sorry, 240. And that is suitable for wrapping over once it's finished at this point. So that can be wrapped. Where it's grey, obviously you need to finish the rest of it. All these spots still need to be rubbed. That's fine. So if you were going to paint this with a metallic, you would want to use a 600 grit wet to sand the whole thing, and then you paint the metallic, because the metallic will fall into all those little scratch marks and will give a different effect, and you may even see some of the scratch marks. So you can see here this gougy looking part, we're actually down to the metallic here. So this may need recoating because that's a silver metallic behind with the filler in the middle of it. So there's a few little low spots along here. The wrap will lay into that. Well, it won't show it. They're fine. All these little bits. Some of these you may see distortion in the wrap, but it's not going to show too much. So for the most part, this is only going to get hammered down here again, and for this car at least, it's not going to last forever. We're planning on rewrapping it in 12 months. So this is only a cheap wrap going on it, a pink wrap. So that's it. Prep work done.